Okay, so when we left off, we were finding the distance between 2 points using the distance formula, and we are going to continue with that with the u-try. I've got the distance formula here. We know that our x2 is up here as 0. Let's plug that in. x1 was -7, so minus a negative. Be careful with those minus a negative. Squared. So y2 is 9. Minus our y1 is 3. Quantity squared. All right. Again, good old please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Parentheses first. So 0 minus a -7 would be 7 squared, plus 9 minus 3 would be 6 squared. Then exponents. 7 times 7. 7 squared we know to be 49. 6 times 6, or 6 squared, is 36. We're going to add those together. So that's going to be 85. Okay, so I would expect for my advanced geometry class, you guys maybe know, or maybe you don't know, that 85 is 5 times 17. And so since we don't have a squared term, a perfect square is what we call that, my answer would just be square root 85. And that will be your answer in what's called simplest radical form. If you're in geometry, then you're going to go to your calculator and take the square root of 85. So you're going to go to second, the blue button, and x squared, and then enter 85, enter. And you can write some squiggles again for approximately. It was 9.2. In our instructions, I don't think they specified what to round it to. We'll just go to the nearest tenth, and that will be fine. Okay, so the next concept we're going to go to is called a midpoint. We talked about a midpoint last time, and about the fact that the midpoint is the exact middle of a line. We said a midpoint divides a segment into two congruent segments. So last time we were working with solving for variables on either side of that middle point. This time we're going to find the location. Your answer is going to be a location of the middle point on a grid, on a graph. So what you need to do in order to find a middle point is to find just the average of the endpoints. So you take the two endpoints, add them together. Since there are two of them, you divide by 2. So the midpoint is a location halfway between the two endpoints. So that's an important distinction from distance, whereas distance is how far, it's a length. It's a length versus this is a location. All right, so let's start with example 4. Just a horizontal midpoint. You're finding the halfway point between 3 and 9. One way to do this would just be to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So since it's a distance of 6, 6 divided by 2 would be 3. So 3 squares, my middle point would be located right there. The question is, though, where is there? There is at 4, 5, 6. So the midpoint between 3 and 9 is 6. We could have also found it by taking these two numbers, adding them together and dividing by 2. 3 plus 9 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. We have another picture over here of a vertical change, a vertical distance between 2 points, and the question is, where is their halfway point? Again, the fastest way is to add the -5 and the 10 together and add by 2, or divide by 2, sorry. So that would be +5 over 2, or if you want to call it 2.5, that's either one of those is correct. So So our next question is, how would you find the midpoint of a line segment that is not horizontal or vertical? Let's make up some points. We'll make them easy ones here. Let's go with 0, 0. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to call this point 4, 6. Where is the location that is exactly halfway in between these two? Some of you are your instinct is gonna be to jump straight to doing the Pythagorean theorem. But remember, what the Pythagorean theorem tells us is the distance between those two. We're not interested in how far away they are. We're interested in where is the halfway point between those two. So what maybe some of you thought about is, Miss Benton, I went 4 this way, and so half of 4 would be 1, 2. And I also went 6 this way, and so half of 6 is 3. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 is the midpoint location. That's one way to think about it. Essentially, what you just did was you took the average of the x's, 0 plus 4, divided by 2. The average of the x's, the x values, and so 4 divided by 2 was 2. And then you took the average of the y's. You said 0 and 6. Ooh, whoopsie. 0 plus 6 divided by 2 would be 6 divided by 2, which would be 3. So our ordered pair is 2, 3. And you would be exactly right. That's all you have to do is the average of the x's, the average of the y's, and then put those two together, your x and y coordinate. Alright, I'm going to meet you in the next video for using what we just found to be the midpoint formula.